Lights, camera, action.
In a studio where local filmmakers talk to other filmmakers about the inside world of film.
Cut.
That's not the script. It. We'll fix it in post. Do you wonder how films are produced and what really goes on behind the scenes? Well, stand by. Filmmakers Kevin Munfrey, Victoria V.A. Jones, and Carson Hype Ferguson explain all the details. Right here on It, We Will Fix It in Post podcast.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you're listening, I thank you for doing so. I am Kevin Mumphrey, and this is It. We Will Fix It in Post. I'm here with my colleagues, Carson Hype Ferguson, and Victoria V.A. Jones.
What's going on?
So I have a question. Let's just pretend you all have a young child. And
Go ahead.
So, and this young child had suddenly wanted to be an actor. Let's say maybe 6, 7 years old.
Suddenly?
Yeah. But you have it's one of those very theatrical child. They're very dramatic, but they suddenly want to be an actor.
Aren't all children dramatic?
Some more than others, yes. Way more than others. But would you necessarily pursue that child wanting to be an actor? Like putting them in trying to get them in commercials and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, I would if there's something they want to do, but you have to really feel it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it just a phase, or do they really want to do this?
Carson, what about you?
You got to figure out where it's coming from, like to see if it's like genuine or not. Because I'm not putting my kid nowhere where they can be exposed to any kind of craziness or like outside people, whatever. And, just I don't know. Like I would figure it out. I'll figure it out if it's genuine, like she said.
Yeah, I kind of go with that same logic. I would want to kind of test it out first, and ideally, you would do that by putting them in theater. It's live. And if they're really into it, theater is a great place to hone your skills as an actor. If you're great on stage with a camera, when you can take as many takes as you want, it's a lot easier.
Or they can be great. They can be great at what they do, or at the same time, are they ready? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can have talent, but are you ready for what you're about to get into?
And
I was born ready.
Well, we ain't talking about you though. And that's the other thing that I would be worried about by doing something like that, because I mean, you see and we think like the ultimate child star probably in our lifetime, like Macaulay Culkin. He does one movie and it blows up.
Yeah.
He becomes honestly probably one of the most famous people in America overnight. And I mean, he's more famous than most adults, and they couldn't handle fame. We've seen plenty of stories where people get famous as adults and their life turns to drugs and doing all types of crazy shit.
But that also has to do with the parent, though. Because if you look at people like Keke Palmer, if you look at people, what's the chick in the Proud Family? What's her name?
Proud Family. I know you're talking about.
What's her name?
I can't think of her name.
If you look at people like that, they didn't. I mean, they might.
You talking about Kyla Pratt?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
they had their struggles.
Oh well,
but I mean,
she was online.
Okay, I just said they had their struggles.
No, like she was online.
Okay.
You know what I'm talking about? Now I'll play.
You saw it, huh?
Well, she was wilding out a little bit though. A little bit.
I just said,
but like the Drew Barrymores and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, I mean that's not good, especially for the whole world to see. That's not something I want my child to go through, if possible. I wouldn't even want my adult, family members to go through nothing like that, especially like the whole world seeing you. Think about like the the reality TV shows like that Bonaducci dude.
Yeah.
Everybody saw him just spiral and just life go to. And then like,
well, he was also on the kick of he wanted everybody to see his real self.
Oh, they saw it.
I'm telling you, that's what he was on. He's like,
I don't think he was ready for like, you know, him going to those dark places like
well, he
that.
probably
He probably didn't think it was gonna be that bad.
right.
He probably didn't think it was gonna be that bad. But like when they have unfettered access to your life,
Yeah.
and then you, like your wife decides to divorce you, it's probably gonna get pretty dark for you, dog. I'm just saying.
And again, another aspect of it, like I mean, like I said, it was already bad enough like that when we were growing up, but now you've got TV, you've got social media, and then you've also got not necessarily just TV stars. Because you see a lot of parents, they put their kids on, they have their kids throw on a little Instagram page, and they do like, or TikTok's a great way for a lot of kids kind of blow
Yeah.
up. They do little skits, and they blow up from there. But now you've got with with social media, you've got people giving their judgments, saying little and if you're a parent, you're putting your kid out there and you're seeing them saying little sly remarks. I mean, most parents are going to be sensitive about their children.
You're gonna have to deal with it. Like you put them out there, that comes with it.
That's just part of it.
It's not right, but it's just something that comes with it. Like it's going. You gonna have to deal with this.
It's just like you seen that clip of JoJo? You remember JoJo, the little kid Disney star?
She ain't little no more.
Okay.
She like what, 26?
It's a singer, right?
Yeah. The
Okay.
little, so I guess she
Like,
was on the episode of Dancing Moms.
Dancing Moms.
Dancing
Not
moms or
Dancing
dance moms?
Dance Moms. Is that the one with the
I don't know.
With anyways, so I don't know. I never watched it like that, but she put a clip up of these of her on the show, and these girls just so the woman stands her in front of all these girls and said, "Tell me what you don't like about JoJo."
Ooh.
And these little girls sit there and just demolish her, standing right there in front of her.
Why would you do that with kids? Kids ain't got no filter.
And so she put it up, you know what I'm saying? Then she put up a quote or something like that saying, this is, you know, people ask me why I have all these problems. Well, this is one of the examples of why I have all these problems.
Yeah, come on, man. Anybody.
But I'm talking about mental.
Yeah,
is
but
what
I'm saying
you about.
psychologically, us three. You remember going on that school bus?
What school bus?
Oh, okay. The lunch table. Like I remember,
But I'm telling
I remember
you,
the
like,
school bus and the lunch table
Right.
was some psychological damage you had to deal with.
That's
'Cause
understandable.
They
but
go, they reach into your soul.
okay,
and they pull all that
I'm,
out.
I'm trying to get to the point
Okay,
of where.
go ahead.
Can I get to my point?
No, but go ahead.
Oh my
I'm
God.
playing. Come on, I'm playing. That's a joke. Go ahead, please.
But I'm telling you, it was an adult who put this in front of this child. Is what I'm telling you,
Mhm.
right? I'm not just talking about kids being kids. I'm talking about an adult putting her in that situation.
Mhm.
Some adults do that. So how do you shield your child from that?
What you talking about? Like you talking about like having them on the what's the name? On the dance show? Is that what you talking about?
No, never mind. Move to the next question.
But yeah, I was trying to figure out you kind of go with that too. But if you're putting it, like you're putting them in say you got social media.
I'm saying that the kid, like the adult should have never put her in that situation. So being an adult, you should have never put the child in a situation like that.
But they're also in a business where, and because that sounds like something you would see a lot more of, like in modeling. I've heard something like that in modeling. So something that's like part of the business you're putting your kid in and stuff like that. I would be nervous putting like a 7-8-year-old child in, even if that child had apex confidence in themselves. It was still, and there's that, and there's also I said in my time acting, I've dealt with child actors twice. They're usually very bright. They're very smart.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't have a child that's really smart wanting them to be homeschooled. And I know
But
it feels like we're society's leaning more.
You can't
that,
put them in there. You can't put them in public school.
but then that's
especially if they're a child star and they're already famous.
yeah. It's and then I think this one kid he's filming. Just think of another reason why this is just I find it an imbalanced life. He's filming a show in Los Angeles, but his family is in Texas.
Hmm.
The kid's maybe 8, 9 years old. He's really good. I've seen him. He's on this show on NBC.
You mean his mom and everything? Like they're not there with him? Nobody's there with him.
No, he has a guardian. He has an aunt that lives out there. But your immediate family.
Well, how we don't know how close he is to that aunt though.
And I mean, I'm taking account that I'm hoping that he's close to his aunt.
Yeah.
But it ain't your mom and dad.
Yeah, but it's kind of a little different. Like if he's not close to his mom and dad.
Oh no, they're close. They're close because I mean he started off with he was doing skits with his dad, so their family they're really close. It's just you going back and forth from one family member to it's almost like being an adopted child.
Yeah, I can see that, but that's just the sometimes the price that you pay.
And it's like when you can't necessarily like as your kid, it's something you want to do, but I mean, how many life decisions are a kid allowed to make?
I mean, not a lot, but at the same time, if here's the thing, when you go into the business or whatever you're doing, right? There's certain consequences, there's certain things that are just gonna happen. So just saying, he's away from his family, that's just a sacrifice that they decided to make for themselves.
And that's the main part, like putting a kid in the business. I mean, how many businesses can you put a kid in?
I don't know if I would even say like a sacrifice. I'll just say there's trade-offs.
Well,
there's trade-offs, like for anything, right? So it may not necessarily be a sacrifice. It may just be a trade-off. Be like, hey, it's nothing different than any other family dynamic, right? So like if the dad's like this businessman that travels all the time, maybe the family has to get up and travel all the time. That's not necessary. Well, I mean, it might be sacrifice on some people, but there's also trade-offs. There's good and there's bad that's going to come from it. And, kids might like getting up every 4 years and having to move, but I mean, to have better,
Now I see you saying, let me throw another dynamic in it. In your situation, you're the father or the parents are the breadwinners. But if you're like Macaulay Culkin, you're the breadwinner because that new house they got, that kid paid for. Those nice cars, that kid paid for.
I mean, that ends up being a weird dynamic. And then if it's not like a balanced family already, you might be setting yourself up for like a big old letdown. Like case in point, Gary Coleman had to emancipate himself, and there's several child stars that had to emancipate themselves from their parents. I mean, you told me about the Britney Spears thing. I kind of knew about it, but I mean, you gave me more details about it.
Yeah. And you see how long it took her to do that.
And and I mean, she dealt with her parents up until her adulthood.
Right.
And
she halfway crazy anyways.
And then how many people who can get into this situation and probably be successful in it have a stable, structured family home? I mean, I think we're starting to see that a little bit more now.
Well, who?
A structured home?
Again, I'm like even you brought like the Keke Palmers.
Yeah, like that's a rarity. In most cases, they're like the people pushing that, like the dance moms and all that stuff. Tell me Honey Boo Boo Mama is like, you know what I'm saying, all the way there.
She doesn't have custody of Honey Boo Boo.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, tell me that though. Like that's because we talking about during the parents. So the ones that were forward facing, the ones we can outwardly see. Tell me them they got it all together.
No, she ain't got it all together.
Exactly.
But I was saying not all child stars are like that. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm saying like I get you there, but I'm saying like that is the norm is to not be all together for the child star, because more times than not they're not well adjusted human beings by the time they get to being like 25 or even 30
Right.
Yeah.
with their own families. Even I'm saying like that is it is not the norm to be a a quiet, productive member of society. That is not the norm. The norm is to be like a little bit of wild child and maybe even a wild adult. And maybe they settle down by the time they hit 50.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it took Drew Barrymore how long? Like she was like in her 40s before she like really like got into it.
Right.
Right.
But how were her parents though?
I don't know, but she was going to Hollywood parties her as a kid. That ain't no place for a kid.
Exactly. So the parent.
Ain't no love. I was just saying.
But like that
I'm
whole
just saying.
dynamic like changes when you're like the one bringing in
Yeah. You
life changing money.
be like, yo,
I got to take out the trash.
Hey, look. I pay for all this. Like, can you imagine the child trying to have that conversation with the parent? Oh, like, hey, look, you might as well emancipate yourself right now, because we ain't gonna have that. We gonna have train smoke all through this mug. I'll tell you right now.
Like you were 12 years old. You know that this nice little mansion y'all living in, little movies you did pay for, and your mom was like, hey, "Go and take that trash out."
I run this.
Like at 12, 12-year-old me, like you.
What's the one joint that they had on TikToks with the the self-defense dude in Detroit? Where it shows the next scene you be in heaven.
Yeah.
You be like, oh man, this didn't work out. That's how I imagine. Like, be like, hey, as soon as I'll be like, yo, I paid for all this up in here. And be like, look up, be like, where did all these clouds come from?
But now the parents go like, well, now who's gonna pay for this house? It's like it completely kind of changes the dynamic of a household.
Yeah, if money is everything.
When you ain't got it.
If money ain't everything, then you think my child gonna talk back to me crazy?
Actually, it ain't when you ain't got it. It ain't when you ain't got it. Cause guess what? The people that get the lottery money or whatever, the majority of them end up broke within X amount of years.
Cause I give it all away.
Because of the mindset. Because if you ain't good with money, give a terrible person with money a lot of money. They still not gonna be good with money, no matter how much money you give them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can destroy generational wealth. It only takes like what 3-4 generations to destroy generational wealth. I'm talking about like long dollars. So like, you can't tell me if you just win like a few $1 million, even though like that's a lot of money, prospectively. But in the grand scheme of things, if you talking about like in a 10-year period, you can blow that. I mean, hey. And you can be singing DJ Khaled songs while you're blowing it too. Featuring T-Pain.
No, y'all know about the I can't even think of, like, I know they were, especially because of the guy who had to emancipate himself from his parents. There are rules now as far as like how in Hollywood, there are rules now as far as there are laws now as far as how.
Is that why those laws came about? Because
I think his was one of the main cases.
Because I thought that was just labor law in general.
No, there are labor laws, but like those laws are more like kid can only work this many hours per day.
Yeah, for minors.
He has to be schooled. If he works more than this, he has to be that. So it was either him or Macaulay Culkin where they changed, at least in California. I know.
Well, that completely makes sense. But I mean that like. It might be a union directed thing too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure they were involved.
Because I mean, even without being on union, like for a child actor or whatever, they could still drive some of the change, which I'm not against. I'm not against at all.
Yeah, and I mean, as far as like unions, SAG is probably one of the strongest unions in this country right now, if not the strongest. Because I can't think of another one that's talked about as much. But
the amount of members,
yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. And but I think I don't remember if it was Macaulay Culkin or Garrett, but I know they changed the rules as far as like how money is. Like they have to have money in a trust. It, you have to put it in a trust. But do you feel like a parent should be in control of that?
Well, I mean, like, they're gonna be like a probably executor or some kind of grantee or whatever, and have like some kind of temporary thing over the trust. Uh, um, what last week? Aaron Hernandez's ex fiance was a lawyer came out was saying that like actually no, it was week before last. He came out and said she was mismanaging the trust. Like
Hmm.
that was the money it was supposed to be for the child, but she's like doing all this extra stuff and then asking for extra money to like do things like get her hair done or something like that. It was something silly. And I was like, really? I'm like just making it like just obvious. And you can't be just blowing through like, the funds like
I
that.
mean, that's what some people do, though. I mean, and it's not right, but I'm just saying, when you're when you come from nothing and you got a whole bunch of something, you either gonna be spend it well, or you just gonna go all out.
Well, I mean, this is why you have the safe gaps in place. You have the trust, and you have people overseeing the thing to make sure the money's not just being blown.
Now,
That way, you have money for when they're
do you think parents
older.
should be in charge of those trusts?
The trust, maybe not 100%, because if you're trying to make the money last,
Right.
and you have a bad parent or a bad person managing the funds, then the money ain't gonna last. But if you have these safeguards in place, then there's some stop gaps to keep them, like it's like a surge protector or circuit breaker or whatever. Like it pops, so like they don't get to spend like these crazy amounts.
Or do they have it to a point to where they can get like a certain amount out? And it's, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, like that's how the Aaron Hernandez one is. Like it's so much like drawn, like like quarterly,
Right.
monthly, all that stuff. And if you need any increases, then you'd be like, oh, well, this I need 5,000 more for dance and equestrian lessons or something like that. And you'd be like, no, that's what happened. It was something silly like that. It's like $5,000 for dance. I was like, man, you go down to why?
And I think there's also like different law firms kind of work that thing differently. So it's something like because I was about to say yes. Now some like maybe argue that they should have the right to that money because that's their child. So the child can't spend it. At least
I say no. I say no. Like if it's in the trust, it's supposed to be in the child's best interest. So you shouldn't have 100% control of it
Right.
because you want the money to last. Like it's in the child's best interest. Now, maybe like there's like some kind of allotment or something like that on the child's behalf. Cool. But like depends on how the trust is written, and each one's different. So there,
And
there
it
might
might
be some.
be it might be in the laws, whatever the child law is in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if they have a trust law.
I don't think it's a trust law. But it may be like a unspoken, like common practice thing that like, hey, it's a good idea to do this, and however you draw up the trust. So that's
But
between the
that's what I'm-
lawyers. That's between the lawyers and all that other stuff, and they'll be like, hey, this would be in the best interest. And then like parent could say yay, nay, or whatever. College fund could be in there. It could be like spending money like after a certain amount. It could be like, okay, this person, the child, for example, we're gonna grant y'all 35% of the funds that are in the account up until the child's 18. I'm just saying, like, for example, it could be something like that. And then like after that, it would be the child can only access, another 50%
Yeah.
until the age of X. That way they don't just blow through the money themselves too
Yeah.
when they get 18. Because if they have all of a sudden just access to this, and they've never been like taught how to control like the money or anything like that, it could be another instance like that as well. And the last thing you want to do is have the kid destroy himself.
Yeah. Which leads me to the last thing I wanted to ask about this. I mean, like adults I mean, those people who are in the industry have a hard time having a difficult time kind of rationalizing a work-life balance. So imagine you're a kid, and let's say you're a kid at a Marvel franchise. How do you kind of establish a work-life balance or something like that? Because I mean, filming can last you what, good 6 months.
There is no balance. There is no balance. It just is.
And then that's
No, I mean seriously.
no, I'm saying, but that's also it. A lot of that comes with the job.
Yeah.
If you know you, and I ain't just talking about kid actors. I'm just talking
Yeah.
about in the entertainment industry itself. You know what comes with it. So if you know what comes with it, and you sit over here and say, "Oh man, but I don't want to do that. That's not me. I'm an introvert. I don't like going out here doing all these public events and all. But I know I have to do it. There's something I have to do. So you accept it. I have accepted that. You saying, well, I'm not gonna do it. It's just part of the job.
Again, and you've mentioned the fact that you know what comes with it.
Right.
An 8-year-old doesn't necessarily, they see the candy, they don't see the.
Well, that's why the
see the
parent is
vegetable.
there.
Right.
The parent is there to make the ultimate child, the best choice for the child. Will the parent always do that? No. Like there's parents that aren't, parents of child actors that don't necessarily make the best, decisions on behalf of the children either. So
I think we're about to wrap this up for today. Any final thoughts?
just one. And it is just final thought.
What?
No, just
And scene?
I ain't got nothing.
Right. You just say, hey, I don't have anything.
I'm too dramatic for that.
Victoria, any final thoughts on your behalf?
No, just know what you're getting yourself into. You know what you're getting yourself into. So when if you want to make that decision for your child, just know what's ahead, because it ain't a smooth ride. And let your child understand this is not a smooth ride.
The problem with that though is a lot of people get into stuff without knowing what's actually in store, and like they don't even consult anybody else. Try to figure out
Well, that's not good parenting.
Well, that's not good anythinging.
Anythinging. That's our word for today.
That is not a word. I
You
just
said it.
I just said it. That don't mean I can say stuff that ain't no word.
Oh, like you
That-
made fun of me earlier? That's cool.
Wait, which time?
When I said a word,
Vibe.
definitely didn't say that.
Vibe.
This is turning into something else, so we're going to go ahead and leave. Once again, Kevin Mumford with my colleagues, Karsten Hyde Farguson
You got that vibe.
and Victoria V.A. Jones.
Yeah.
And that is a vibe.
That was the problem. You had Adobe open.
Yeah, it was doing too much. It's like too much processing.
So I guess